We're live from downtown Mill Bay.
There's no such thing as downtown.
When you go up to 50s, what's that called? So what are we? Downtown. But if Thrifties is uptown, we must be, by symmetry, which is math, downtown.
We are down. Mr. Newfeld.
Yeah.
Should we set up donation goals?
Pardon?
Should we set up donation goals?
Donation goals?
So if we reach a certain mark, we have to do something for donations.
Donation. Okay. I'm not going to do a seat recording today. However, I am going to do the rule. If there's an empty seat in front of you, forward or diagonally, you must move.
The only way to be safe is to be in the front row.
That's true. That is true.
Also,
That way I can see you. Also, this may not be our permanent setup. I don't know where I'm going to put this thing. I like this better because I can draw on it. And we are now live from downtown Mill Bay. So if you go on YouTube Live, this should be recording. The link is in.
some people already watch it.
Yeah, some people may be already watching. There was a student who wasn't in a single one of my classes. And in their, well, they're grade 12, in their spare, they would just listen to my class recording. I don't know. If you're not in the class, I didn't think it was that interesting, but apparently they did. We're actually not going to do anything on here. I just wanted to make sure the live system was working. So it should be working. We will be here. We may move this around. And if you have an idea like, oh, it'd be more comfortable if it was here, let me know. I'm also thinking about that corner. And then you have a small front row, a little bit bigger second row, and then a big third row, and then maybe that would allow you to be further back and not seem quite as lonely. And we'll see. So this is what's being recorded. That's being recorded. We can prove it. I want to also test that it's working because the thing crashed like 17 times the first time I tried it. So let's see if it's actually working. Ooh.
Why did you bring milk? Huh? Why did you bring milk into class?
The man's allowed to bring milk if he wants to.
Why multiple milks?
Oh, there we go.
You should have seen. You should have seen advisors.
Oh.
149.
Oh, there we go. However, I don't hear sound. Why don't I hear sound? Part of getting this to work is to figure out all the settings.
It's fine.
Are the speakers plugged in?
That one's in. This one's in. Let's see what this one is.
Second, why is there so many windows?
Well, because it's repeating itself now.
It's beautiful.
Oh, PC monitor.
What am I watching?
Are we doing it now? Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah. As we recede into the distance of an infinite universe, we are now being live recorded. So, if you're away from class, this now officially works. It wasn't working last day. I will now turn off the sound because do we have some? Well, I'm watching. Here, watch. I will give myself a thumbs up.
So you already had a like. You already had one like. Wait, yeah,
Don't you start with one like?
No.
Really?
Someone's already liking
Someone's
likes.
already liking it.
The like is
Okay.
going back in history.
Today we are going to do a lab. I would like you to get out your lab book. It is a piece of graph paper. It looks like this.
It is more than one.
And you will also need your guidelines for the laboratory notebook. That looks like this. You're going to be a little intense about it. I'm also going to go check.
Sort of lab. Oh no, I don't want to set things on fire already.
I walk right by you.
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Are we lighting things on fire?
maybe. I was going to instinctively say no, of course not, but actually today that's not true. Okay, with your lab book, in accordance to the instructions, does anybody here not have the lab book? Yeah, it's those things. Your lab book has graph paper. They're purple. It should have your name on it.
Do we need the data booklet?
No. Pardon?
Do we need the data booklet?
Nope.
You said you wanted it in pen.
It should be, now when you write on this, it should be in pen, preferably black or blue ballpoint, but any pen will do. It cannot be written in as pencil because this is a legal data document. So if you do not have a pen, borrow one. On the first page, name, date,
Oh, what is the data tonight?
on this page, write your name, the date, and the page number, 1. But we're going to leave a couple pages for the table of contents. So as soon as you have that, that proves you didn't ignore it. This is the page you're going to use. And we have to number all the pages. You're going to flip it over. And then you're going to do it again. Name, date, page number. In this case, it would be...
First and last name?
Did you say 3? Oh, because you're counting this one? No, you can do that too, actually. I was going to say that this is page like 1B. But there, you can pick... Label it as 3. Name, date, page number, name, date, page number.
First and
I
last
just
name?
did that few pages into the book. So
That's fine.
So I have my little.
You have your what?
Never mind, it's fine.
Okay. So as long as you leave a couple pages, we're going to put a table of contents in there.
How many pages?
2 pages. 2 physical pages. Name and date them, and then turn them over until you get to a fresh, brand new page. The third physical page in. So you've left 2 pages. And then you've name date, name date, name date, page number, page number, page number, page number. Counting.
Okay.
Question?
Yeah. So the first page is where we write our name and date and stuff, right?
Yep. Every page you write your name and date.
Every single page.
Every single page. Yeah. Every single page, name, date. And then your page number just goes up by 1 each time. Pardon? Yep. Just keep going. Yep. Every page.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes?
We do the 9th and every page. Or like,
The 9th?
this is the 9th.
September 9th today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do
Yeah.
like the 9th.
Yeah.
on
And every day.
page.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
then tomorrow
I
you
think-
can.
I think he's asking,
Only
if we
like
turn
always
the
so-
page, do we have to write the date again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 9th?
The
or
same
the
day.
10th?
Yeah. Did the day
So
change?
every day. So every
No.
single day
So
is
it's
September
today's
9th.
day. Yeah.
So then every day is going to be the 9th.
No. No. Because we're stopping here. On this.
We only need
Just write your name and the date and then deal with the rest later.
And then
Today
next
we only
time.
Watch. Sorry. What's your name again? Because I missed it. Aiden. So Aiden. Watch. Name, date, page 1. Name, date, page 2. Name, date, page 3.
4 pages. right?
Name, date, page 4. Name, date, page 5. Stop.
Wait, but what about the back of page 5?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Why is this so hard?
So 4 pages.
4 pages. Well, technically 5, but yes.
Wait. So.
Does it matter how we write the date? Because I'm writing it back as.
It does matter.
Which one
Have I
should we
filled
use?
you with some existential dread now that you know that it matters?
I'm using the British
It-
way.
This is a legal document. In what way could you write the date that is confusing?
Well, is it?
Because Americans do it all the time. Now, there's very few ways to confuse that. What is, today's the 8th, right? Today's 9th. So, sure. But what if I wrote yesterday's date? Or, is this yesterday's date?
That's a month ago.
That's a month ago.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Not if you're American.
Yeah,
but we're Canadian.
Americans do it the other way. So, your date,
I just wrote September 9th.
that's perfect. Your date should be unambiguous. You should go September 8th, 24, and then it's great. You could go 8 September 2024. I don't care, as long as there's no way to misinterpret it. Where you can misinterpret those easily.
Well, dang it.
Yeah. Then lightly cross it out and rewrite it. It's not a big deal. It's a lab book. The purpose is that someone else could read it and not be confused. Not that it's the neatest thing in the entire world.
How many pages do you get for 4 or 5?
You're on the 5th page, you stop. On the 7th day he rested, but on the 5th page we will stop. Good?
Biblical reference.
Yes. Excellent. I'm going to blow this. We're going to be getting out and doing the lab. Now, I'm going to go over some of the rules for this because I handed it out just handed it out. So one of the things, write your name and date on every page. Every page you use as you go along. You are not allowed to skip pages writing that. If you skip pages, that would imply if someone saw that, you were planning to write something differently later. So that says that you saw it. Now you may leave it blank because I've told you you're going to put it in a table of contents there, but you pass that page deliberately. Do not write data anywhere else and then transfer it into your data booklet, that graph paper. All your data is written in that booklet. This is a plain language notebook, so you don't have to, say that something was effervescent and you think it's hydrogen gas. You just say the test tube bubbled. The conclusion that it's hydrogen gas might be something you write in your actual lab report. You could put in, my hypothesis is that it's hydrogen gas. But you want to use plain language, make it easy to read. It should be organized, which is why we're going to put a table of contents and we're putting the page numbers in. You need observations and data. Data needs to be enclosed in tables. So we're going to start off with, on your, that was supposed to be an eraser. 5th page. Lab. If I could spell, it would probably be a lot easier. Observations of vitamin C. Now, this is just simply an exploratory lab. We don't have a hypothesis. I'm not expecting you to come up with one. But we do need materials. And I want you to write down all the materials you're going to use. I'm going to show you what you're going to do, and then you're going to write them in there. Some of the things will be things like isopropyl alcohol, which then brings me to the safety things. And we're going to be using 100%. And if some of you are like, oh, we're working with 100% alcohol, I will take it, put it in my pocket, and I will drink it later. Please don't do that. Because this is drinking alcohol. And isopropyl alcohol looks like that. And those are two very different substances. This one is mildly poisonous and will give you a hangover the next day, but also lower some of your inhibitions and make you more talkative while you're drinking. This one will make you go blind and stop you from breathing, depending on how much you drink. Alcohol is a generic term that encompasses thousands of different molecules. In common parlance, when we say alcohol, we often mean drinking alcohol. Just like if you're sitting at the table and you say pass the salt, you're not expecting potassium cyanide, which is a salt and would kill you. You're expecting sodium chloride, but they're both salts. In chemistry class, details matter. Just because it's labeled alcohol doesn't mean it's drinking alcohol. If you want to steal some alcohol, steal it from your parents' liquor cabinet like everybody else does. I'm not telling you to steal from your parents' liquor cabinet. I'm saying if you're going to do it anyway, at least be safe about it. So we have isopropyl alcohol. We'll have vitamin C and a brand, but I think it's vitamin C 500 milligrams. And why don't I just get it and bring it on up?
I love the word vitamin. Will any dose of this kind of alcohol be safe to consume, or
If you drink a small enough amount, you won't get drunk and you won't feel any effects, but you also may not damage your liver and you may not go blind. It depends. I know someone who drank straight methanol, which is not this. This is actually safer than methanol. Methanol will also make you go blind and then eventually kill you, but at a faster rate. Isopropyl alcohol will actually do that at about half the speed, so it's slightly safer. You may also know this as rubbing alcohol. So like we rub it on our skins, it doesn't penetrate very well, but that's perfectly fine. But you're not supposed to drink rubbing alcohol. You'd have to drink more of this than methanol in order to hurt yourself. She walked in, her dad was cleaning a car engine, and in doing that he had some wood alcohol, which is methanol, and he had it in a clear glass cup on the counter, and because it's really good at stripping oil off of things. She walked in, she was very thirsty, saw the glass of water that she thought, downed it, and then realized what she'd done. Instead of telling anybody, she was like, oh my God, and just went to her room and waited to see if she went blind. She didn't. Huzzah, that's how we got the story. It was small enough that it didn't. Methanol gets turned by your liver to a methanaldehyde and then eventually methanoic acid, which is red ant bite. It's a stuff that really hurts if an ant bites you, and it kills nerves. And one of the largest nerves in your body is your optic nerve, which is why you go blind. And of course, the other big concentration of nerves is your brain. So if it kills your brain, then you stop breathing. You're going to be getting out a tin foil cup, not tin, aluminum foil cup. So foil baking cups. Not bad. I should show, because I should practice what I preach. If you make a mistake like I did, you should lightly cross it out as opposed to erasing it. Because maybe you were really using backing cup and we go backwards. Now at this point, I'm going to stop writing there. I'm just going to say what we're going to use, and then you're going to use it. So I'm going to put the pen down. You're going to grab a scoopula, S-C-O-O-P-L-A. That is its technical term. It looks like this. It's just a fancy spoon. And you're going to get a couple or three, enough to cover the bottom. So you will need to record how much. So you can just look, see what you want. But you want it to cover the bottom. We don't want it burning directly on the foil on the bottom, so we're going to cover it with a little bit of sand. Try not to get any wood or old pieces of vitamin C in it that are now in here. So that's ready. And then you're going to get a tablet, which I will sprinkle on here for you to grab up later. Also, before you get too far, you will need to work with a partner. But you need your own data before you leave. So I sign off that you have your data on your data booklet. So it's not one of those, my partner writes everything down and I just get to watch. You both need the data. But you are going to need to agree on a procedure. So I'll give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, we have 17. So there's allowed to be one trio. Find a partner.
One trio. We'll go all together.
Okay, we got one trio. Everybody else needs a pair. Is there anyone? Hold it. We have the trios at the back, so everybody else should be a pair. Is there anybody who's not pair? Who's a pair? There? Pear. Yeah, pear. Pear.
Down.
Oh, yeah, pear. Pear. There. Pear. Pear. Excellent. I think I pointed at everybody. Okay. After this, you'll need to get together with your partner and agree on a procedure. You get then a vitamin C tablet. If you ever need to, I don't know, you're doing drugs or something, and you want to cut a tablet in half, well, doing drugs is like taking antibiotics. Like,
Well, I think there's a better way to say that.
pardon?
I think there's a better way to say that than doing drugs.
No, I kind of like the way you say
But like,
Using medication.
like I'm doing
Oh
drugs
my god.
right now.
Bro, how does this guy get?
Is that
Because
Guy get?
You like that one?
what is the most abused drug in the entire world?
Sugar. Coffee.
Sugar is not a drug.
Caffeine.
Caffeine. Sugar is often compared to a drug, but sugar is an essential nutrient for life. So we're just evolved. Anyway, I'm going to get too much. My background's biochemistry, so I easily get put aside on that. Okay, there's a line across most pills. That's because they're intended to be able to cut in half, whether it's vitamins or you have a Tylenol or something and you want to just press it in half. So they're always rounded on the bottom, or usually if they're intended, you put the line so it's down the middle, take your thumbs on either side, and you press down and snap it. If you want to do quarters, you can rotate it and do it again. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm saying you're going to decide. You can leave the pill whole, get a bigger snake, or you can break it up into little pieces, try for a larger surface area, faster reaction. I have had success and failures in both ways, and one of the things I'm curious about is if collectively of all these classes I can figure out what's the best way to do this. I honestly don't know. So you're going to decide whether you're going to break it up or not. Once you have your pill, you're going to put it in the middle of your sand and put it on the ground on something that's not flammable. That's a key point. So don't put it on wood. And another group, they were brilliant. They found a non-flammable point. It was at their height, but they put it on Pip's eagle, which is an eagle, you'll see, because we're going to do this outside. We're not allowed to do this in the lab right now because the lab's not commissioned yet. Pip's eagle represents and was donated by one of the founders of the school. If admissions found out that I was burning things on its head, I would be in quite a bit of trouble. Then you'll call me over, and I'm going to give you about a ml of isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to squirt it on top, and then I'm going to light it on fire. And then your job is to make all of the observations that occur after that. Hopefully all of you observe something, and if you don't, that's just sad, and I'll blame you on what you did. But sometimes in science nothing happens. I spent an entire summer researching a reaction that, if published, I would have had my name on a paper along with 12 other people that we figured out how to do this complex reaction. They had gone through, there's 12 possible ways to do it. They had gone through 11. Each researcher, they hired a new student, grad student, every year to test. I was on the 12th and last one, and I conclusively proved you can't do it. And so no paper is written, because one of the problems in science is we often don't publish negative data. It's just as important, but nobody wants to read that. So my professor just emailed all the other chemists who work on that in the world, of which there were 5, and said, oh, by the way, you can't do it this way. And they went, fair enough. So you will need to put out all of the materials. So you've just seen the whole procedure, and I've told you what we're using. Underneath that, and I'm going to erase the page number because I actually need a longer page, you're going to need your procedure, where you put step by step in plain language a procedure that anybody else would be able to follow to replicate what you're going to do. You can do it in point form. Underneath that, you need an observation section. And observations and your data have a couple of rules. One, all data must be contained in a table so that you can refer to it later. And all tables must be numbered and titled. So if you have multiple tables in a lab, you can say refer to table 3, and the title should have some indication of what's going on. So I will leave it to you to title that whatever you want. And then you must make a table. Now, you could just make, it's got lines, and this could just say it's observations, and it's just one table, and you're just making observations as you go along. That's fine. Some students last day wanted to set up, and they had time, and then they had observations. So they attempted to say at 0 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds what was happening. It's a fairly quick reaction, not super fast, so that might be useful. You can set this up in any way you want. One group did qualitative and quantitative. I don't have that much instrumentation that we're going to use, so there's going to be very little quantitative data unless you brought a weigh scale of your own, or you recorded like the temperature outside or something. But set it up in any way you want, and then just leave the bottom open. And as you write data, you just extend the sides. If this is the bottom of your page, when you get near the bottom, and if you're going to keep writing, you close it off and you just say continued on next page. So leave yourself some room, and then on the next page, you just continued from last page and you redraw the table and you keep going. Okay? So it's a lab book. You want to record your data. Ends of pages don't matter. And when you turn to the next page, what do you have to do on that page? Date, name, page number, and you just keep going. As much data as you need. I will now give you a few minutes, get together with your partner, write up your procedure, get your, and once everybody's ready with their table, we'll head outside.
Mr. Neufeld?
Yo, what up, my homie G? What's this?
With the table, is there any, sorry, for doing observations of the table, do you, like, how do you, what is there at, you set the table, or you just write observations?
Yeah, sure.
Or do you make multiple boxes?
You have a title for your table. If that's not description enough, you could make a top and you could say observations of vitamin C lit on fire, or qualitative observations. Anything you want. You do need a title here. You could say vitamin C plus isopropyl alcohol. Yep. Yes.
Should I list sand as a...
Should you list? Yes. It's a material that if you would need it to replicate the reaction, you should list it.
Is it just,
We need aprons and safety goggles.
No, safety equipment you don't need to list. And technically in a formal lab you would say what your safety procedure was, but that's a separate section.
We don't need
Materials is the materials you need to duplicate the experiment.
So do we need safety goggles?
I'm gonna, yeah, you don't need to list the materials. Just what you need to do it. I'm gonna show you the different safety equipment you are gonna use.
what, do we have to specify what kind of sand? Like,
Grab materials.
The better your materials.
what
It is the sand from the fire bucket.
should I write fire buckets in
You
there?
can, yeah. I'm not gonna stop you. Okay, okay.
So, procedure, fire buckets in. Use a scoopula to lay out sand on the bottom of the aluminum. Would that be an example, procedure? Would you
Yeah. You gotta describe it so someone else can replicate it.
use the scoopula
And then
to lay sand on the bottom of the aluminum cup?
vitamin C. Yeah, in
Sand? Is it just sand?
Sand from the sand bucket. Or you could also call it the fire bucket.
After we break the towel in half, do we put the isopropyl alcohol?
Yeah, then I will come over and do it, but yes, then you place in the isopropyl alcohol. I'll put in about a milliliter for amounts,
The sand.
1 milliliter.
roughly. I'm putting it in with one of these, which is not terribly precise.
Wait, so we need to list that.
Do our,
Yes. Do you know what this is called? That's so close.
You
Are you saying it in another language? It's a pipette. Pipette. P-I-P-E-T-T-E. Pipette.
Our procedure is written on box.
Excellent. We'll just wait till more people catch up. I'm going to show you a safety equipment first, and then we'll head out. Feeling better about the lab book
I
now?
thought it said pipe.
Did you ever have to do this before? Grade 9 and grade... Yeah, no. We didn't do this in grade 10
I
either.
did this in grade
And
one.
good. Where were you? Where did you go to school?
In like the outskirts of Vancouver.
Oh, what's the name
Heritage
of it?
Wood Secondary.
Okay. It's something we got away from here, and now that we have the new lab, I was like, I want to bring it back. I go and visit like the local universities. I'm like, what do you do? And they're like, their lab notebook schedules are terrible. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got to bring it back.
Do ours have to be identical in the wording and procedure?
No, but someone should be able to get to the same result by reading both.
Okay.
Yep. But you may write it in your own words. Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah. Lovely.
So put the whole tablet in.
Yeah.
Place unbroken tablet.
Please.
Why did you stare?
No, go ahead. I won't look.
Place intact.
Any new program?
In center.
The tablet.
Have you ever done the, like how to make a sandwich exercise? Very similar to labs and the procedure room.
Well, just like
Oh, just yeah. At some point they'll do like how to make a sandwich or how to go through a maze. And there's a great programming TikTok channel, and they show them doing this. So they'll say like, take out the bread and spread it on peanut butter and jam. And so the person will grab the bread, like 7 slices, slam it on the table, put on peanut butter,
It's probably like
dump
that.
the
I
peanut
don't know.
butter.
That looks right.
Because the procedure should be exact so someone can do it. So if there's any way
Or
of
doing something
misinterpreting.
similar where like we'd have to make him walk to the door.
Yeah.
Like exact.
Exact, yeah.
Oh yeah, we had to do that too.
Yeah.
Do we have
It's
to
good
write
practice.
observation as like a procedure?
No, observation is a separate section. Yeah.
Place intact tablet.
It's 11.
Oh, how many of you liked the new signing process this morning? Excellent. On a serious note, any way that I can improve that process?
We don't number.
No? All good? Okay. Pardon?
Early. I can't talk.
No, we don't have.
Because I slay. It's not mine, it's Miss Annalise. But it's the biggest fan that she owns, and she said I could borrow it because I'm so hot. And my temperature is really high.
Do you use aluminum or aluminium personally?
Oh, you wanted to.
Oh, I don't care. I usually say aluminum because that's the Canadian pronunciation. Sometimes the UK will say aluminium. Technically, that's wrong. Even though they're English. But chemistry actually has defined words. It's an acceptable alternate, but the official pronunciation is aluminum.
Well, I learned the history of it. It was originally called alum after a sulfur
Yes,
that a guy
yeah.
who liked, I guess. Like,
Okay. Who is not done?
What's the rest?
Okay, okay. If you
How
remember.
much
Isopropyl alcohol.
Milliliter.
Thank you.
how do you spell pipe?
You want me to spell it carefully on the board?
Don't quote me on that.
My handwriting can be best described as a
Sorry.
hope and a prayer.
It's
So if you can't read something of mine because I wrote it too fast, please let me know and I will rewrite
It's
it.
pipe.
Sure.
It's spelled P-I-P-E-T-T.
Yeah. Because it's not a pipe, it's a little pipe. So it's a pipette.
Light on fire.
If we only have one table, do we have to write table 1? Like,
Yeah. Always numbered even, because who knows what may happen. If you ever continue the lab, perhaps you will have a table too.
okay.
So you always start off the way you want to continue. Again, it's not likely, but junior lab books have been used in court because they recorded data properly and they were signed off. So, and it's useful to keep in mind, if you're establishing patent rights, if this is something that you proved and you want credit when you write the paper, if this is anything worthwhile, signed off,
Sept.
written on every page, properly numbered, so they get really sticky about that sort of thing. I was just reading this year, this poor student, he's in 3rd year, but he's working on a lab of an actual research project. You were one of the rules I'm allowing you to break is technically you should not let the journal leave the lab. You would do all your data in the classroom, and it would never leave the lab. Because a lab is often where you work, so you're there all day, it never leaves, it doesn't go home with you. But you do homework, so we're breaking that particular rule. He needed to finish some writing, so he took the lab journal out of the lab. It was in his car, and his car got broken into, and all his stuff was stolen. The school is considering expelling him and writing a letter to every other school for that offense, because they didn't just lose the data, they actually have the data backed up on other lab journals, but that puts a question mark on how reliable the data is, and there's millions of dollars riding on the result. So, and he's just in 3rd year. That's you in like, what, 5 years? It's intense.
After we light on fire, do we have to specify to observe?
No, you could write observe the results, that's fine.
I'm gonna,
But you should have your table ready to go. Most people seem to be close. You're close on the table. Are you close? Are you up to the table section? Next one? Okay. While you're finishing off, I'm now going to go over the safety procedure. There's nothing in here. We're not going to wear aprons because there's nothing that'll stain your clothes. There's no acidity. If you spill isopropyl alcohol on you, it'll be weird, but it'll be fine. However, you can light yourself on fire. And an apron would just be plastic melting on you. So this is actually a little bit more flame resistant. However, if you have a tie on, as I myself do, I don't have a pocket. So I don't have a pocket, you actually stick it in here. If, however, you have hair, you need to tie it back. We do not want heads on fire today. If you do not, we don't have, once the lab gets up and running, we'll have some extra hair ties, but for now, if you don't have a hair tie, tie it back, put it down the back of your shirt, make sure that it's safely away. There should be nothing that can drip out on it, so if you anything that drips like a tie or anything like that, jewelry that would come down, you want to take that off or secure it tightly. You'll be wearing lab goggles. The light blue lab goggles are the standard goggle for the standard head. This will fit most of you, it's great. If you're like me and you have a large head, then you can wear these. These are a little wider and they're adjustable for your ears that are a little bit further back. If you're also like me, you don't have a large head, but you wear glasses, the only thing cooler than lab goggles is 2 sets of glasses. Now I tend to wear it like this because my eyes are completely protected and put my glasses on top. That does have the risk that my glasses may get damaged. You can also go like this, as long as you have it secured. No, your glasses do not count as goggles. They do not have side protection. They are not acid proof. They're not shatterproof. There are a whole host of things that they are not. These are. You always must wear these. If these do not fit over your glasses, or you want to be extra cool, you can go for the lab goggles. It's a classic for a reason, and that will fit over everything. You are now fully protected. I would not recommend the whole shebang, but it is possible if you're very worried about your eyesight. Actually, things are a little blurry right now, so it's a bit much. They will be out there on the table, and you will grab one, and I'll confirm that everybody has one on before they go. Now, once I light this on fire, please do not pick it up until I tell you to do so. One of the things about the flame, has anybody ever been watching racing and then there's an accident and the person comes out of the car and they're going like this, but you can't see anything, and then they come over the fire extinguishers because the flame's so hot you can't see it? I'll light this, and for most people it will burn in a yellow flame. You'll see it. But a lot of times you won't. It does burn hot enough that the flame turns invisible, and it can have a low flame and it's still burning, and then someone puts their finger in there to touch it and now they've got a bad burn. So we're going to let it, we want all the isopropyl alcohol to burn off. Once I'm sure that's happened, I'm going to invite you to put it away, but I'm not going to give the instructions until then, because right now I want the instructions simply to be, don't touch it. And I'll tell you out there how you're allowed to touch it. Anybody still writing? Okay, let's get our lab goggles on.
My mom just bought these because she thought they were cute, and I was like, they're not going to be walkable. They're not walkable.
If you can see well enough for that. I get my grades with lab goggles. And that made university fairly. It won't be for two.
I say that as soon as I took off my glasses, my
Lab
head
goggles?
started.
You have a pair of lab goggles? Okay, so. Oh, maybe put it back up. Yeah. Okay, let me, eyes this way, I want to see that everybody's wearing them. From the moment you put them on to the moment you take them off, they should always be here. At no point should they be here, because your forehead is beautiful, but it is not as valuable as your eyes. I've even seen on occasion this, where they're like, I can't even do that properly because my chin is too big, but they're like, wear it like that. I don't know how valuable their chin is, but it must be on your eyes at all times. That's the most valuable part that we want to do. Everybody's eyes. Okay, good to go.
Well, no, class starts. Maybe I'll try.
Likes it like that.
I don't know. Are we still on live stream? Hello. Graham's on his phone. Whoever's watching the live stream, if anyone ever watches this.
Top 10 oral loss-ish moments.
What can it hear?
So that's like.
Super loud, Liam.
Now that you have all your phone, phones must go away. We actually, just so you're aware, I don't have it yet, and I probably should be doing it because we were told to, and I haven't done it yet. When you walk into any science classroom, the science department rule is that you put your phone in a basket. They've ordered us some. We don't have them yet, and I have forgotten because we didn't do it last year. But you'll be putting your phone in every time. But for now, just put them away. Don't bring them out during class. Does everybody know the rule about AirPods? Nope. What's the rule with AirPods?
Can't have them unless you ask.
You can't have them out in the building.
Exactly.
So that's not even in here. That is like anywhere. No AirPods.
They let us in my last class.
Your teacher can allow you to. So if you're like, hey, I'm studying, can I get out my AirPods? It can be like, yeah. So I'm assuming that a lot of people who don't have long hair are about to start growing it very long to cover their ears. But either way, that is the rule.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Stop that. What I'm going to do now, have a little read through this of what a proper lab book is. The other classes I didn't get to do that because we had shorter classes on Saturday. But I'm going to give you a night as well. It is the one that looks like this. Guidelines for the laboratory notebook. And I want you to just finish off, if you need to cross a line underneath your lab book. I want only one other section I want underneath that. My voice just cracked. I'm going apparently through second puberty. Is a discussion. Now, for this lab, this is a very unusual lab in that you don't have any hypothesis. This is more like if you were a biologist going out in nature and just observing. And as a chemist, you just observed a reaction. So in your discussion, I would like you to discuss questions you have. Possible explanations for your observations. Ideas for future experimentation. So, if you said, I think it's this, what would your next lab look like? How would you change up what you did? If you look at someone else's results, you go, oh, that was that's interesting. You can refer to them. You can say from so-and-so's lab book, they had this results under these conditions. Always reference who you're talking about. If you go to say Chat GPT, and you say, I had these observations, what kind of questions would I have? And you use those, reference who you collaborated with, in this case, the tool ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a tool. It shouldn't do your thinking for you, obviously. One of the reasons you have a lab notebook and it's handwritten, so I can see what you've done and everything in the part that's you. If you use a tool, it should always be recorded and referenced. So ChatGPT, I use that to come up with these questions, and from that, I think these experiments. If you're just copying down something blindly, you're not using a tool, you're just allowing it to do things for you. There's a difference between allowing a tool as a lever to move things and just letting it move whatever it wants to. You have to be there in order to do it. ChatGPT is an algorithm and has no idea what it's talking about. If you look behind the workings of what it sees when you type things in, they're just a series of numbers and word percentages. And that percentage, that number aside to that word fragment, just records a percent of what is the odds of the next fragment coming up, and then once it calculates the one with the highest odds, it puts it in. There's no thought behind it whatsoever. So it has no idea what it's saying, which is why I can't tell you how many R's there are in strawberry. But if you spell out the word strawberry, it will, because it'll parse them separately. There's all sorts of cool tricks that you can get it to do. So, I'm not saying go and use it, but it exists. People are using it. I am using it. I wrote, if you've never used a spreadsheet before, and you want to know, hey, what's the formula to do this? ChatGPT is great for things of that nature. Sometimes it's great for idea generation. Hey, I've got this, this, and this. What's some possible ideas? And then, but you're choosing. And then you say where you got that from. So reference things any tools that you use. I'm going to give you a few minutes. We're probably going to start a little bit of notes today. I'm hoping we have time. My intention is to do labs, but we start off with like the Bohr model. And that's protons, neutrons, and electrons, which I can't physically show you in real life. So there aren't labs other than like draw a Bohr model and decorate it. Put it like this. It's not a real lab. Whereas we can talk about reactions all day. So I'm going to be putting reaction labs throughout that we can then talk about in reference to other things. So there's no Bohr model lab. This is our lab for observations. Get to use the notebook. We're going to start Bohr model in a few minutes. Give you some time to finish off. Rest for homework due next day. Seem reasonable? We won't have other homework. I'm going to assign some Bohr model stuff. Pardon?
The discussion is the homework.
The discussion is the homework.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a few minutes right now just to get started. Finish off your table if you didn't put on the last line. It's done in your book. It's handwritten. If you have an IEP that you require a computer to do things, please see me, because obviously we can make accommodations for anything that's required. You just put it over, and what do you do on the next page? Name, date, page number. Whoa. And what time is it? And what time do we end? Ooh. So what? You will have, I will give you 5 minutes of notes. 5 minutes. And I should probably take attendance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go, take it on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leave one for Graham and pass this down. A reminder, you need a binder for your chemistry notes at 3 rings, because I will give you note packages. How many of you brought your textbook today? Excellent, you're working out. Do you need to bring your textbook every day? No. The textbook, your textbook, this is just reference. I will tell you when you need to bring it. You don't need to wear it your back bringing it. You can leave it in your dorm room. I will tell you when you need it. I'm going to source, there's a workbook that goes with this. I also want that back in your dorm room. If you have review to do, it's a great source of review material. And as well, if for some reason someone says, oh my God, there's a pandemic and you all need to go home, the workbook then becomes invaluable because you have something physical when your internet isn't very good at home that we can work on, as we discovered, is kind of important. What block is this? E. Is there anybody here who was not here last day? I think we did. And I should do a quick attendance. And I should call up. Nope, that's not mark. No. Oh, maybe a little. A little. Look how perfect it is. Two. Sure, looks good. So much faster. Where's, oh, did it make it to the other side? No. It did kind of make it. I should have printed this. Okay, I'm going to give you another minute and 30 seconds, and then we're going to do the last 5 minutes of reviewing. How many of you have never heard of the Bohr model? Excellent. How many of you didn't do the Bohr model last year? Okay. With COVID in different areas, we're still doing that. And I said I would do attendance. It's, who said that? It's the wonderful model. Yep,
A flame cannot survive without oxygen, is that right?
might be. I don't know.
Not our
What do you think?
Some flames use things other than oxygen.
Yeah. Oxygen is a very, that is often used in fire safety. Flame can't survive without oxygen. In chemistry, we could say flame can't survive without an oxidant, of which oxygen is the most common. But if you had some sulfur compounds around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, we are all here. Attendance is done.
If you lit a fire off, if like with like solid oxygen and like I don't know alcohol in a vacuum, would it burn? Or
If you what?
if there was like a powdered oxygen and
Yep. Powdered oxygen. First of all, you're very cold.
I know.
Very cold. Yeah.
And a very flammable fuel source. I don't know. Would it burn in a vacuum? Does the oxygen?
Oh, in a vacuum, absolutely. There's been fires in the space station. They're very scary because the fire will just float in space as it's burning in a ball.
Because one of my questions is
Yeah.
like, what the results
Yeah.
be different if the experiment was performed in a vacuum?
Yeah, yeah. There's differences there. There is. I can't remember the Canadian university, but they used to have a contest who can light a Canadian Tire barbecue, a certain standard brand, the fastest. And one year they got liquid oxygen, which you can make in the. I've made it in the lab. You just get liquid nitrogen around a tube. You pump in air, and the oxygen will come off first. It's got a pale blue color. Really dangerous. We did that once by accident. We had to evacuate the lab until it evaporated off. But they did it on purpose, kept it, and then poured it on the barbecue and used it as the ignition source. The barbecue was gone. Early days of the internet, so I can't find the video anymore, but the fireball was easily the size of this wall, like right here when they did it. They only had
Did they
tiny
win?
pieces of the barbecue left, and they then filmed themselves picking up the tiny pieces and going to Canadian Tire and trying to return it, saying, we only used it once, we don't know what happened. Here's our receipt. And they didn't get that. But, okay, 11:40, please put away your lab book. Put it aside, put it in your bag. We're going to just start off with a few definitions. Hopefully they are a little bit of review. I've got a summary statement in there, so we can do it quickly. as well as we're going to see how well you know your different types of matter. What is chemistry? The study of? This is the basic. Pardon?
Oh, it's atoms.
It is elements and atoms, but what are elements and atoms? They make up molecules. Matter. Matter and energy. So, chemistry is the study of matter and energy. Can you describe a science that does not study matter and energy? Biology studies living matter and energy. So biology is actually biochemistry at a fundamental level. All of psychology is reactions going on in your neurons. in your brain.
Emergence.
Pardon?
Emergence is a trait that none of the particles have on their own, but is of the whole.
Right. Chemistry. Take sodium, explosive metal, put it in water, bang. Take chlorine, poisonous gas, put them together. Tasty to put on your food, sodium chloride. Brand new property when you combine items. All of that is chemistry. Physics is just like super easy chemistry. Like, oh, we have a big block of matter and we threw it across the room and we calculated its velocity. Like, none of the atoms even changed while it was getting there. Super easy chemistry. Any particular science at its fundamental level is just chemistry, which is why we start with chemistry. What is matter? I don't have my app set up yet. I'll have it for next day so I can call on people. But no, you've already answered one. Someone who has not answered one. Yeah.
Matter is like molecules combined.
It's made of molecules. What do molecules possess? How do you know something's a molecule?
Atoms,
It's made of atoms. How do you know something's an atom?
electrons.
It's got electrons.
Protons.
And what are those electrons and protons taking up?
Space.
Space. So for matter, you need to have a volume. But you can't just have a volume because that would literally just be space. So what else do you need in there to prove that it's matter? Yes, actually. Matter, because matter is stuff. But it, Graham. There's something else you need, and I'll demonstrate this. What? Mass. Excellent. Keep coming. We're going to demonstrate mass. This is great. So what I want you to do is get a little low down, like this, and you're going to run into me right there, okay? And I'm going to walk towards you, and you're going to walk towards me, okay? Let's go. Now, did I move backwards? No. Did I slow down?
Yeah.
Now, who has more mass? Me. Like, what's better than a six-pack? Cake. Thank you very much. Please give her a hand.
I
Well
feel
done.
that.
I have a lot of mass. I am made of stuff. I take up volume. So, we need to have mass. Light has no mass, but it actually has momentum, which is how a light sail works. The light hits it, bounces off, and it pushes it, but it does it without mass. And that's why we will never discuss that in this class. We got about 100 building blocks. I don't have the poster up yet, but those building blocks are called? They are atoms. Specific types of atoms are called elements. So good, we got that down. What is an element?
That can not be
Just
created
created or
by
destroyed.
combining two other
Created
things.
or destroyed.
Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. That's a fundamental law of thermodynamics. But atoms cannot be, I think you...
Created, or cannot be.
Because
Cannot be two things combined.
cannot be two things. I thought you said broken. We're going to add in chemical means. And that was all of our 5 minutes. Board model will go quickly. We'll get on to the next section. We're going to make sure you can count protons, neutrons, and electrons. How many of you, if I said the word isotope, would know how to count protons, neutrons, and electrons of it? Okay. We got about maybe a third, quarter. Okay. Thank you. Enjoy your next class.
There we go.
And shut her down.